Today's video is sponsored by Built Bar. We will talk more about this at the end of the video, but there is a 10% off discount in the description below if you're interested. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my classroom. Today's episode is a special one, a very special one. This documentary, if you can call it that, is powerful, it's moving, it's impactful. It's nearly impossible to describe the value, the impact that this has on our sport that we love, swimming. So first of all, what is this Michael Phelps documentary that recently dropped on Peacock? I'm glad you asked. Peacock is the new NBC/Universal Studios streaming service. And by the way, it's actually very legit. It's a good service. For those of you who are out there that have never heard of Peacock, I do believe that there is a free version of Peacock. So you can download the app on whatever your streaming device is and watch most of, if not all of their content, just with a few ads here and there. The docuseries that I'm here to review for you guys, my swimming family, is titled Michael Phelps, Medals, Memories, and More. I legitimately just finished watching this like 20 minutes ago. It's awesome. So here's the deal. We all know who Michael Phelps is. He's the most decorated Olympian of all time. He's the greatest swimmer of all time, the most accomplished swimmer of all time, 28 Olympic medals, 23 of them gold. He swam in 30 Olympic finals spanning across 5 different Olympic games. And this docuseries takes you through each and every single one of those 30 final Olympic swims. And Rowdy Gaines, Dan Hicks, and Michael Phelps himself sit down together and they watch along with you, break down each race, and go into all kinds of amazing detail, stuff that we as swimmers and consumers of this world have never gotten to see before. The series is structured in 3 episodes. The first episode covers the 2000 Olympic Games and the Athens 2004 Olympic Games. The second episode, the 8x8 Beijing 2008 Olympic Games, where he won 8 gold medals in world record times. And then the third episode, the London Olympics and then the Rio Olympics. So you're looking at about 3.5-ish plus hours of swimming Michael Phelps Olympic greatness. And I was enthralled literally the entire time. Before I go any further, I should give you all a little bit of context. Most of you watching this know who I am, know a little bit of my background. I swam on Phelps's final career-ending Olympic race, the 4x100 medley relay. It doesn't feel like that long ago where I, just like a lot of you watching this, was just a little kid with posters of the man, Michael Phelps, on my wall. I grew up idolizing Michael Phelps. I grew up with posters of him on my wall. I grew up watching his races at the Olympics. And for me to, climb that ladder and finally summit Everest and make it to the Olympic Games and then be on a final career-ending relay with him, that was one of the highlights of my swimming career, and I cherish that. But I was watching this documentary through the lens of that swim fan, right? Through the lens of 14-year-old Cody watching him at the Olympic Games again, just reliving those memories. The first time I ever met Phelps, I was 15 years old. This was just a few months after the 2008 Olympic Games where he won 8 gold medals. And I met him in an airport. I was flying back home from Washington, D.C. to Las Vegas, where I grew up, and he was in the airport flying to Vegas as well on the same flight. And I'll never forget this. He came up to me and was, knew that I was a swimmer. We swam at basically the same meet, but it's not like, I didn't meet him there or talk to him or anything. And long story short, I ended up getting my ticket upgraded to first class by him so that I could sit in first class on this 5-hour flight next to him. I was just a little kid in the airport with my swim bag, and this is the greatest Olympic champion of all time who had just won 8 Olympic gold medals. He didn't know me, he didn't owe me anything, had no reason to do anything kind for me, but he was sitting in first class and was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this kid an awesome experience. And he got my ticket upgraded to first class, and I got to sit with him and hang out with him and play computer games and pick his brain. And as a 15-year-old, for me, that was like the greatest experience of my life up until that time. And then 10 years later, I ended up winning a gold medal with him. But I tell you that backstory just to give you my perspective and a little bit of understanding of why I really, really revere and respect the man that is Michael Phelps, because I've met him on a personal level, away from the pool, at a time where I was young and no one knew who I was. And he, just out of the kindness of his heart, gave me one of the greatest experiences that I could have possibly had at that age. He's a good guy. And watching this docu-series, you get to see the layers behind who Michael is, because not only do you watch the races, all of the races along with Michael and Rowdy and Dan, but they talk about what was going through his mind. They talk about what it was like away from the pool. They talk about the build up to the Olympics, the training leading into each Olympics, what his mindset was, where he was in his life, where his priorities lied, what he was doing in training, what he should have been doing in training, the mistakes that he made, on and on and on and on. All these different stages of his life, they dissect and they dive into and discuss on a very personal level, all while analyzing the greatness and the flaws of all of these Olympic races. And it's something that we've never seen before. I'm one of Michael's former teammates. I was on a number of Team USA trips with him. And you know, I don't know him that well, but you can see through the discussions that happen in this docu-series, as they take you along, starting from when he was a 15-year-old just making the team, not winning a medal, all the way to the point where he'd already done everything anybody could have ever imagined doing. You know, you see him at his start, you see him at his peak, you see him at rock bottom, and he talks about his mindset in all of those locations in time. And the value and the takeaways from those experiences, seeing that as an audience member for up and coming swimmers, for current professional swimmers, and it doesn't even have to be the swimming world, anybody in life. We're talking about the highest stakes situations imaginable, right? The pinnacle of pressure. And there's numerous of these circumstances over and over and over again. And we get to see the mind and the attitude and the instincts and the habits and the reactions of the GOAT. And we get to hear them and see them through a lens that we've never gotten before. I've got to hand it to the people behind the scenes for this, you know, especially Dan and Rowdy. I was literally blowing up Rowdy's phone like 20 minutes ago, just texting him back and forth about how awesome I thought this was, because, you know, Michael is more of a reserved kind of a dude, and Rowdy and Dan, but Rowdy especially, did a great job of getting things out of Michael that we've never seen before, that are just such, I know I keep saying this over and over again, but things that are just such a value for young swimmers. You know, you've got 16 races in just a couple of days at the biggest spectacle in all of the history of the world, the biggest sporting event that there is. And you're maxed out, gassed, dead, tired, failing. You know, he had races where he missed the podium, where the entire world watching, hundreds of millions of people are going, oh, he blew it. He totally blew it. But there in the Olympic Village, in the dorm, in his room, Michael is just completely clear-minded about it. His ability to assess the situation and move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. You know, the discipline that Bowman beat into him. And it's so cool seeing the footage of Michael and Bob over the years and all the different things that Bob did for Michael. Now, switching to my analytical side of my brain, right? Turn the Swen fan off, because I love this stuff inherently. But the way that the documentary was structured, right? The way that they weaved in transitions, the way that they shifted gears from race to race, the way that they flowed from one Olympic cycle to the next Olympic cycle, and it's all done in conversation form. I've got to say, and I was texting Rowdy about this, the way that they edited it all together, it flowed very well. As a documentary series, the hour-long episode flew by. I mean, when you hear 30 Olympic races, that's gonna take, imagine sitting down and watching 30 Olympic races on YouTube. The time consumption alone just turns people off. But I gotta say, the way that they structured it and stitched it together, it is seamless, man. I mean, as a video editor, this is, I kind of nerd out about this stuff, but I mean, it's, when you think about it in concept, in principle, it's very simple. But to do it well, to make a good documentary, to have subject matter, particularly just people sitting on chairs talking, and then intercutting footage, that sounds simple, but that is actually the hardest thing to do. Making a good film, making a good documentary is incredibly hard. And even with the best possible subject matter to mine from, keeping the audience engaged the whole time, keeping you on the edge of your seat, revealing new bits and pieces of information. As Michael talks about, you know, his low points coming out of the 2008 Olympic Games where he was depressed, he had no motivation, he wasn't going to the pool, you know, all these things, navigating those stories from a technical side is very difficult, and I gotta give it to Peacock. To all of my swim fans out there, whatever age you are, you've gotta check this docuseries out on Peacock because it will enhance your love, respect, and appreciation for high-level athletics, specifically in our world of swimming. And it is remarkably cool to see the transition from athlete to the man that Michael is now and where he's at in his life now. It's really cool. I'll end it with this. At the beginning of each episode, there's a very cool hype reel intro to get you into it, to suck you in, to draw you into the series. And I actually wrote down the words because it like legitimately spoke to me. And it's Michael narrating this. So Michael says, when I started out, talking about when he started swimming, he says, when I started out, it was just something to do, something to keep me out of trouble. Then I won some more. Then it became the reason I got up in the morning. It's how I measured myself. Eventually, it became something I needed. And then it just became something that I wanted. And I think when you break down that narration by Michael, that kind of echoes a lot of people's feelings about their own swimming career. That spoke to me because that resonates with me, because when I started swimming, for the same reason, I started swimming because it was something to do, because my parents wanted me to know how to swim. My dad loved the water, my mom was terrified of the water, and so it was just something to do. And then it became something to keep me out of trouble, to keep me busy. And then I got better at it. And I liked it, and it gave me friends. And then I won a little bit more. And then it became something that I needed. It became something that was basically the most important thing in my life. I needed that, I needed swimming. And now, where I'm at in my life, I have a family, I have a baby, we're gonna have more babies. I'm at a different point in my life, and swimming is it's just something that I want. And that opening narration by Michael really resonates with me, as I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people that have gone through their career in the swimming world. Check this doc out, guys. Today's episode of Cody's Classroom is sponsored once again by Built Bar. These are by far the best tasting power bars that you'll ever have. They taste like a candy bar, and thank God they just sent me another box because I've been running out. Built Bars have amazing nutritional value. They're gluten-free, they have absolutely no preservatives, and they're coated in real chocolate. Over the course of my career, I have probably tried over 100 different kinds of power bars, and most of them taste chalky and taste, quite frankly, just bad. But Built Bars taste amazing. If you guys are interested, click the link in the description below. Use my promo code CODY10 to get 10% off your order. That's it for me, guys. As always, normal stuff. Follow me online. We've got merch on the merch store, vlogs every Wednesdays, Cody's Classroom every Fridays. I'll see you guys in my next video.